In 1974, a dusty outlaw looks into the camera and yells, "Where the white women at?" The theater goes silent for half a second, then erupts in laughter. In 2025, that same line would explode across social media before the movie even premiered. Blazing Saddles didn't just cross lines, it obliterated them. Mel Brooks built the kind of comedy that mocked racism, politics, and Hollywood itself, all with the dangerous confidence of someone who knew exactly what he was doing. People back then laughed because it was forbidden. Now we tense up before the punchline even lands. Sit back as we count down the 20 most controversial scenes that would send a studio's legal team into a panic today. Number 20, the railroad scene. The movie kicks off with a train crew of black workers being yelled at by clueless white bosses. The humor came from exaggeration. Brooks mocked cruelty by turning it into complete nonsense. Audiences in 1974 saw the racism as the joke. In 2025, that joke feels too close to home. We've learned that context doesn't always travel with the clip, and people hearing that whip sound wouldn't laugh, they'd wince. What Brooks saw as satire, today's world reads as tone deaf. Number 19, the campfire scene. It's just cowboys eating beans and then, well, letting nature take over. The first big fart joke on the big screen. People in 1974 thought it was hilarious and bold proof that highbrow comedy didn't have to smell good. Today it's more cute than crazy. The shock value's gone. Social media already made toilet humor an everyday thing. The real surprise now is that a major studio even allowed it then. It's funny how rebellion ages. Sometimes it becomes nostalgia. Number 18, the sheriff is town reveal. Everyone knows what happens next. The townsfolk see their new sheriff and shout a slur. Back then, the laughter came from how absurdly racist the line was. The joke exposed ignorance by imitating it. But now, you can't really use hate language and expect people to sit through the explanation. In 2025, it would be clipped, tweeted, and stripped of its meaning by lunchtime. Brooks' satire relied on trust from the audience. That trust doesn't exist in the same way anymore. Number 17, the governor's office scene. It's chaos. The governor signs papers he doesn't read, slaps people around, and shows off how stupid power can be. The silliness lands until you notice the jabs at disability and intellect. In 1974, it was all part of the farce. Everyone was fair game. In 2025, those jokes would never pass a sensitivity review. Brooks modeled the governor after real Hollywood executives, an inside joke that aged into cringe. During filming, co-writer Richard Pryor reportedly joked that the governor character was every producer in town rolled into one. That comment explains the bite underneath the slapstick. The old robe, the fake medals, the absent-minded papers were broad, but they came from experience. Brooks himself was always torn between entertainer and critic, mocking systems that funded him. Behind the cameras, Harvey Korman's improvisations as Hedley Lamar added another layer of absurdity. According to crew notes, Brooks encouraged Korman to play it like a Shakespeare villain who forgot his lines. That mix of polish and idiocy gave the scene its strange energy, an echo of Brooks' years inside television writers' rooms where powerful men ordered nonsense with conviction. The governor's office was never just a gag about bad paperwork. It was a mirror of Hollywood chaos disguised as Western humor. The actor's booming delivery, the ridiculous set decor, even the candy dish on the desk were based on Brooks' memory of executives' offices at Columbia Pictures during his early writing career. The spirit of ridicule would survive, the delivery wouldn't. Number 16, Bart's big entrance as sheriff. He rides into town confident and ready, while the citizens hide in fear. The moment worked back then because it flipped the Western image. The hero people feared just for existing. Audiences laughed at how stupid the townsfolk looked. Today, viewers might not laugh at all. It's still clever, just heavier now. The cultural shift changed the echo. Instead of "look how backward they are," it now sounds like "look how real that still feels." Number 15, where are the white women at? Two outlaws ride through the desert, and out of nowhere, one yells that line. In 1974, the theater went silent for half a second before erupting in laughter. The joke wasn't the words, it was the ridiculous fear they highlighted. Brooks wanted to mock white panic and racial paranoia by making it sound absurd. People got it then. They laughed because it turned an ugly stereotype into pure nonsense. But in 2025, that one-liner would never make it out of the script meeting. Context gets lost fast online. Stripped from the scene, it doesn't read like satire. It just looks like something offensive being repeated for laughs. Cleavon Little said he trusted Brooks' intent, but intent doesn't travel with a TikTok edit. Today it would light up Twitter, and not in a good way. Still, the moment reminds us that sometimes a joke's shelf life depends on how much faith the audience has left in irony. Number 14, Taggart and Lyle's idiocy. The main bad guys are walking punchlines. Two dim-witted henchmen who somehow make evil look exhausting. Their plans constantly fall apart, and Brooks used that to show how stupidity can destroy itself. 1974 audiences loved it. Mocking ignorance was still funny before it got labeled mean. Jump to 2025 and humor shifted. Comedy writers today are careful not to make fun of the fool. We've become sensitive to who looks powerless. That means this kind of dumb villain gag doesn't land quite the same. Brooks wasn't trying to insult real people, he was saying bigotry itself was the dumbest thing in town. But now, creators would overthink whether viewers might take it literally. What was once a warning against hate now risks being read as punching down. Number 13, the nooses and hangman scene. A line of people waiting to be executed doesn't sound funny, but somehow Brooks made it a jab at government red tape. In the scene, the hangman argues about paperwork while nooses sway in the background. It's so absurd you can't help laughing. Maybe that's what made it work. In 1974, audiences saw it as a laugh at bureaucracy, not brutality. But in 2025, that rope would carry a different weight entirely. The imagery echoes too much real trauma. Today's viewers wouldn't even let the scene reach the punchline. Brooks said he was parodying how power turns death into an admin task. That sharp point gets lost when the visual itself is painful. What was once dark comedy now just feels dark. The joke didn't change, society did. Number 12, Harriet Johnson's speech. Town hall chaos. Everyone keeps arguing until one woman, Harriet Johnson, stands up to defend the new sheriff. She's the only one talking sense, and that's part of the gag. In 1974, the bit worked because a black woman silenced a mob of clueless men with logic. But even then, Brooks undercut her moment with eye rolls and side glances. The laughter came from the men's foolishness, not her words, but she still gets treated like a novelty. In 2025, this scene sparks mixed feelings. Some call it progressive for its time, others see a good idea wrapped in tone-deaf framing. It's a great study of progress, half a win for representation, half a reminder of how rarely women get to be rational voices in comedy. Harriet may get mocked, but she leaves with her dignity. Brooks might not have realized it, but she became the most real character in a town filled with cartoons. Number 11, Mongo punches the horse. A huge hulking character walks into a bar, a horse kicks near him, and he just punches it out cold. In 1974, it brought the house down. People had never seen something that stupid and bold feel so perfectly timed. The horse was trained to fall safely, and everyone treated it as pure cartoon logic. What few realize is that Brooks used a professional stunt horse and shot multiple angles to prove no harm occurred. The laughter in test screenings was so loud that the next line of dialogue almost vanished under it. Even Gene Wilder couldn't believe it stayed in. The 2025 viewers wouldn't laugh, they'd pause and ask if the animal was okay. It's wild how our instincts changed, from laughing at chaos to checking in if it was humane. Brooks didn't see a horse, he saw a prop for absurd strength. Now, that same moment looks like cruelty, real or not. Animal treatment standards are higher, and audiences are quick to call out what feels wrong. What survived as one of comedy's most outrageous sight gags has turned into a cautionary tale of how empathy reshapes humor. Number 10, Lily Von Stup's seduction song. Madeline Kahn walks into the scene draped in feathers, singing a sultry tune that's half flirtation, half complaint. In 1974, people howled. The whole thing was a parody of old Hollywood sex symbols, mocking the way women were forced to act seductive even when bored out of their minds. The audience laughed because Kahn's weariness made the whole act ridiculous. But in 2025, this same performance would cause meetings, not laughter. Post-#MeToo culture doesn't read parody and objectification as opposites anymore. The funny "I'm tired of men" routine translates differently when the industry's finally admitting how often actresses were treated like props. The comedy's still sharp, but now it hits nerves that weren't visible back then. Behind the scenes, Kahn improvised parts of her tone, deciding to play the character as more tired than sexy. That's probably why it worked. It came from exhaustion that audiences recognized before the culture was ready to talk about it. Number 9, Mongo only pawn in Game of Life. After all the chaos, this line appears. Quiet, strange, almost wise. Mongo, the big tough guy, suddenly admits he's just part of someone else's plan. Back in 1974, it felt tender and funny at the same time. People laughed with affection. Underneath the film's insanity, Brooks slipped a bit of truth in there about power and control, but by 2025, that sincerity hits differently. Mongo's simplicity, once endearing, now looks uncomfortably close to a stereotype. What was empathy now feels like condescension. It's not that the movie lost heart, it's that audiences got better at noticing imbalance. The actor behind Mongo, Alex Karras, was actually a former NFL player who'd only recently retired when filming began. Brooks cast him because, as he later said, he had the body of a tank and the soul of a poet. Karras' delivery of that single line unexpectedly gave the movie a quiet heartbeat. The crew recalled how the set went silent during that take, a first for a production full of shouting and laughter. It showed that Brooks' wildest comedy could still pause for a moment of reflection without losing its edge. The line still lands, but modern people wonder whether we should laugh at it or nod solemnly. That's the weird part about empathy today. You can make comedy a test instead of a release. Number 8, the movie studio battle. This moment cracks open the whole illusion. In the middle of a Western fist fight, the walls literally fall down and suddenly everyone's on a movie set next door, punching out dancers and security guards. The camera pulls back even more, showing Hollywood eating its own story. In 1974, people lost it. A film breaking the fourth wall that violently was unheard of. It said, "We know we're faking it, and you know it too." Brooks made fun of the whole system that paid him. The crew built the collapsing wall using a single hinge and detonators timed to the music. A practical stunt that risked the whole day's shoot. Brooks yelled, "Let it fall," when the set began to tilt too early, keeping the cameras rolling to capture the spontaneous clumsiness that audiences later loved. In 2025, the same stunt would feel risky for different reasons. Meta-humor is common, but not like this. Studios don't like chaos that can't be clipped into trailers, and every extra flying by would get analyzed for representation. Viewers love the satire, but they pause at the stereotypes scattered in the background. What once felt brilliant now needs footnotes. Brooks just wanted to end with cinematic anarchy. Now, moviegoers want controlled rebellion. Irony became a product instead of a punchline. Number 7, Bart and Jim's friendship scene. Two men sit under the desert stars, passing a bottle and cracking jokes. The drunk white gunslinger and the smart black sheriff, both too aware of the nonsense around them. In 1974, it was touching. The friendship cut through the chaos and proved that Mel Brooks actually had a heart under all the noise. Their easy talk about race and absurdity felt radical. Two equals laughing at a dumb world. Jump to 2025, and that same dialogue gets a lot more scrutiny. The language is outdated, the rhythm off, but the tone, respect masked in sarcasm, still works. It's one of those rare scenes that keeps its warmth even when the words falter. People today would probably react with quiet smiles instead of laughter. The humor aged, but the humanity didn't. Behind the scenes, Gene Wilder and Cleavon Little improvised parts of that exchange, which might explain why it feels real. You're not watching characters for a minute, but you're watching two actors admit they're tired of pretending unity must be a joke. Number 6, the church scene. A group of churchgoers argue whether they should help the new sheriff. Every reason they give sounds more ridiculous than the last. In 1974, people laughed hard because religion and racism collided in pure silliness. Brooks held up a mirror to hypocrisy. Pious folks hiding hatred behind faith. But in 2025, that mirror comes with warning labels. Religion has become harder to touch in humor. The same joke would ignite debates before the trailer even dropped. Laughing at moral double standards used to feel brave. Now it feels like starting a fire. Still, the message remains powerful. Belief and fear can share the same pew. Brooks pulled that directly from his life. He'd seen gossip and holiness coexist in the same synagogue pews. That's why the joke felt true then and still hits a nerve now, even if audiences shift in their seats instead of cracking up. Number 5, the villain recruiting lineup. This might be the most chaotic job fair in movie history. Every outlaw, con artist, and Klansman lines up to join a raid. In 1974, the sight of villains from every stereotype standing side by side was hysterical. Brooks was mocking everyone who took hate seriously. People laughed because it turned evil into a circus. Few viewers know that several background extras were local stuntmen from the Mojave era who'd been working on Western sets for decades. They helped choreograph the march sequence that looked both disciplined and ridiculous. Brooks directed with a megaphone shouting, "Slow, stupid, and proud," until they nailed the timing. Try that in 2025 and it'd be a public relations nightmare. Today's audiences would freeze frame every group and debate what the costumes meant. No one would wait for the punchline. The whole point was unity through stupidity. Bigots and criminals all marching together, but nuance doesn't live long online. Brooks once said he wanted to line up every fool in America. That made sense in a world that saw laughter as education, not endorsement. Now, intent doesn't always save you from trending hashtags. Number 4, Mel Brooks as the governor in drag. Yes, the director literally put on a dress to ridicule male vanity. Back then, people cracked up because he looked both ridiculous and proud. The joke wasn't about gender, it was about power being desperate for attention. In 1974, it was pure vaudeville, men behaving foolishly for laughs. Today, that same image would face a dozen interpretations before the credits rolled. Some would see camp celebration, others mockery. Everyone needs a statement of intent. The funny part is that Brooks didn't mean anything political at all. He just thought it was hilarious that a governor would do anything, even humiliate himself, to get love from the crowd. In 2025, that would be dissected like policy. The meaning behind the costume would matter more than the laugh it created. Number 3, the Confederate parody final. Cannon fire, flags, and chaos. The final battle drags every old Western cliché into a slapstick meltdown. Fake Confederates charging at fake heroes while the entire set collapses. In 1974, audiences saw it as rebellion against nostalgia. Brooks made the Civil War myth look absurd, and people appreciated that audacity. But time adds weight to symbols. In 2025, even a parody of Confederate imagery feels risky. Social media isolates those flags from their context, and suddenly it's not clear who the butt of the joke is. Brooks used those props to shout that racism and nationalism are ridiculous mirrors of each other. Today, many people wouldn't stick around long enough to see the mirror. They changed the channel at the first emblem. The laugh didn't disappear, it just got buried under meaning. Number 2, the French mistake ending. Mid-battle, the camera jerks into a nearby musical set where dancers in tuxedos burst into song. Cowboys, villains, and showmen collide in total nonsense. In 1974, theaters exploded with laughter. The Western ending in a Broadway dance number wasn't just funny, it was revolutionary. The joke was about Hollywood itself, scared of anything it called too feminine. Brooks wasn't mocking gay culture, he was mocking the fear of it. Today, that's a harder sell. Jokes built on stereotypes don't age, even when the target was the people holding the prejudice. In 2025, that number would need rewriting. What was once freedom through absurdity now looks like discomfort hid behind sparkles. The intent was joy. The reaction now would be caution. Number 1, the closing meta exit. The characters literally ride out of their movie, hop into a limo, and drive through 70s Los Angeles to go watch Blazing Saddles. It's still one of the cleverest endings ever filmed. In 1974, that ending screamed self-awareness, telling audiences that everything, racism, power, art, was a performance. People left laughing at the idea that a film could wink at its own creation. In 2025, that wink feels a bit smug. We live in an era where every project breaks the fourth wall. Audiences now want emotion, not reminders that they're watching satire. The moral still stands, but the tone changed, from playful to privileged. What once said we're all actors in this mess now might sound like we can mock anything and walk away. The joke hasn't worn out, it's just older than the world around it. Before wrapping up, it's worth remembering that Blazing Saddles almost didn't survive its first studio screening. Executives thought it went too far, but the audience laughed loud enough to save it. Their reaction proved comedy could still take risks and hit truth through shock. 50 years later, the film stands as a reminder that laughter defines its time. In 1974, it challenged hypocrisy. In 2025, it challenges memory. Some jokes aged out, others still sting, but every one of them shows how humor mirrors culture better than any documentary ever could. So, what are your thoughts on the legacy Blazing Saddles and its controversial scenes have left with us today? If you enjoyed this video, what other classic film from cinema history would you like us to compare to modern times? Let us know your thoughts below and stay tuned for our next Classic Movie Rewind.